Ding dong, the wicked witch of the AFC West is dead. We're talking, of course, about the Kansas City Chiefs being eliminated from any possibility of winning the AFC West. They've won it 9 times in a row, and it is over. The reign has officially come to the end. You are now in the Bo Nix era of this tour, Taylor Swift, and you got to get used to it for the next decade, and you're going to hate it, but we're going to love it. We also get great news about the Denver Broncos making a really key signing at a pivotal position, and more evidence that this Denver Broncos team has come nowhere close to actualizing its ceiling, which should have you incredibly bullish about these next 4 games. If you're new to the channel, I'm a diehard Denver Broncos fan who's not surprised about us winning the AFC West this year. We've been calling it here since training camp, and if you are on that bandwagon, smash that like and subscribe button. Let's dive in here. So the big news of the day is that the Denver Broncos finalized a move that really started last week. So the Broncos brought 3 guys in last Friday for a tryout. One of them was a former Conference USA standout, a guy who, when he was healthy, there were people in Vegas who were smashing the hype button on Sincere McCormick because he truly was the fastest or the largest yards per carry over his first 7 games of any running back in Raiders history. He was basically getting 5 yards every single time he got the rock, and then he had a couple of injuries that really curtailed where his career could have taken off to. But again, just an absolute stud, especially going back to college. But we just see film of him against your Denver Broncos, and you can see what the Broncos like in this guy because he's almost the exact same size and build of an RJ Harvey, and that ability to kind of just be a dual threat in that he can carve it up in the pass game, and then he's a very willing runner between the tackles as well. The Broncos, because of activating Mercedes Lewis from our practice squad to our 53-man roster, have an extra spot on the practice squad, and so all that signing Sincere McCormick does is just takes a practice squad spot that was wide open. So really a very low risk, high ceiling move for the Denver Broncos because we know Sean Payton is pretty much undefeated when it comes to playing that 3 games that you're able to activate a player from your from your practice squad to your 53-man roster. He's done it time and time again. And so I think as we talk about like the future of this Broncos team without jinxing it, and are we playing all of our starters against the Chiefs on Christmas? Who knows? That's a short week. Are we playing all of our starters against the Chargers that last game? Having a Sincere McCormick who could take that role of an RJ Harvey makes me really, really happy. And so we've got a ton to play for, obviously, just coming very, very quickly here. So with a win against the Green Bay Packers in Week 15, the Broncos could basically wrap up the AFC West, and that would just be incredible. To have that done before Christmas, to have that done with 3 games to spare. I knew we were going to win the AFC West this year, but not even in my wildest dreams did I think we would do it by week number 15. So there's a lot to play for by winning our 11th straight, and here is why I want to convince you all that we haven't come close to seeing the ceiling yet of what this team can be. Just a bunch of evidence that started to emerge after this game. So I think the first one is RJ Harvey. We had huge question marks about that. That was my only caveat coming into after J.K. Dobbins got hurt on that Thursday night game was, hey, are we going to be able to get this run game going again? J.K. Dobbins was on pace to be our first 1,000-yard rusher since Philip Lindsay. I was terrified when he went out, and boy, oh boy, did RJ Harvey prove to me that he could do everything and probably more than what J.K. Dobbins can do. So one of these things that came out yesterday, which was crazy, was that he is just the 6th rookie since 1990 to have at least 5 rushing touchdowns and 4 receiving touchdowns. The other ones in that list, you're talking Saquon Barkley, Alvin Kamara, David Johnson, Matt Forte, Edgerrin James, like several Pro Bowlers, several All-Pros in that mix. Love it. And did RJ Harvey do it yesterday because they were just dropping back and stopping the packs? No, RJ Harvey played with 8 box defenders, meaning they were crammed in there to try to stop the run on 60 of his yards, which is mind-boggling. Like, I feel like you put Saquon in a stacked box and he does not do what RJ Harvey does yesterday. We know Ashton Genty with a stacked box doesn't come anywhere close to that. It is the second most a Broncos rusher has ever run with that kind of stacked box since they started tracking this stat back to 2016. And the most in the NFL since the very first game of 2022. So you want to talk about what kind of load can this guy's shoulders carry? an absolute huge amount of it. And that is incredible to me because you stack boxes to stop him. We know Bo Nix is going to carve you up. We heard multiple people yesterday come out and just say, hey, this is what we expected from RJ Harvey all season. He's really starting to get it. In his post-game press conference, he talked about like, hey, it's starting to click and my confidence is actually jumping sky high. Sean Payton was like, what are you all surprised at? I told you we drafted him as a rusher, and then his pass catching ability was just like icing on the cake. I think one of the nice things about how all this has played out is the physical style of his game makes me really scared of what he would look like over an entire season. A 17-game season, taking the types of hits he took yesterday, that's a lot to carry for a 25-year-old, absolutely, and can his body hold up to it? So it's actually kind of a blessing in disguise that we didn't start rolling out RJ Harvey in this type of form factor until this game. So truly, he's got 4 games less this season to play at that type of level. And I'm guessing that depending on how the seeds all play out, I'm guessing we only play our starters in 3 of those remaining games, unless truly we're competing for that 1 seed up until the last second. So you're saying he's got 3 more regular season games of that type of physicality, and then, hey, just take us through January and take us through the second week of February, bro, and then you can rest all off season long, and I'm loving how that plays out. Another reason to be wildly optimistic about this game is that Sean Payton said their coaches staff, after watching the film, they're blown away by that punt return, and they said, we all came out of that asking ourselves, how can we get Marvin Mims the ball more? He is a absolute game changer, and what we saw last season towards the end of the season was really when we started smashing the hype button, because we're like, oh my goodness, look at him. When you don't just have him as a gadget guy, he very much could be wide receiver 2 for any team in the NFL. This guy is a difference maker. So Sean Payton comes into this game saying, hey, we have more to unlock with Marvin Mims, and he ended that with saying, and not just like we want to, we'll do that. Like he put a stamp of like, hey, we want to get him more touches, and we will. And the thing you got to love the most about Marvin Mims is that he truly does not care about that whatsoever. And I just can't help but watch NFL football, and you see so many divas, and you see Pickens and CeeDee Lamb like on getting suspended from parts of games, not able to start a game, seeing them pout when somebody doesn't find them open, even just seeing that Packers game, I watched it to prepare for them next week. You see DJ Moore, the wide receiver for the Chicago Bears, pout off because he didn't get the ball thrown to him on that last play. Marvin Mims is the perfect definition of a team guy that you'll ever find in your life, because he is a superstar. He is an all-pro, and Luka Evans asked him, like, hey, do you care that you're not getting the ball? And he said, you know what? If you told me when I was a high school kid that I would be a 2-time all-pro, I would never believe you. I know God's plans are better than my plans, and I had the chance to interview Marvin Mims this offseason. He means exactly what he says, and he is exactly as he presents himself in those interviews. And so this is why Sean Payton prioritizes character over anything else, that it doesn't matter what your 40 time is or what you look like running in your underwear at the combine. It matters what type of character you have, because it's character that's getting the Broncos to the Super Bowl this year, because you got a locker room full of guys who are like, I don't care if I get 100 targets or 1 target. We're on a 10-game winning streak, and I wouldn't trade that for the world, and that's what you love to see. Other reason why you should start to like be buying that or smashing that buy button on the Denver Broncos stock right now. Bo Nix came out and was like, yeah, you know what? I'm really starting to see the field really well over these past 3 games. We told you this was going to happen when everyone said Bo Nix was having a sophomore slump. We said, just wait. But Sean Payton's offense is super complex. There's layers to it like a tiramisu, okay? And he is going to unlock levels, and he got better every game last season, and we expect the same. And over these past 3 games, he's been playing in a top 10 level, and you've absolutely got to love that. Loving the fact that he's never lost to the Vegas Raiders, and although he and his wife are expecting a child, he's already the daddy of the Vegas Raiders, and we've got to love that. Other good news, and why you should still understand that the Broncos have not hit their ceiling yet, is that we are still getting Nate Adkins back. Sean Payton talked about him being one of the most pivotal players on this team is Nate Adkins. We're playing a 41-year-old tight end right now because Nate Adkins isn't there. It's incredible he's coming back. Also, Ben Powers made the trip out with the Broncos to the Vegas Raiders, and we were told December was the time to circle for Ben Powers' return. We've been doing all of this with our 4th-string guard, and he's been playing incredible, but you're talking about a guy who's made Pro Bowls in Ben Powers coming back to this team. And so we just seen this offense is clicking and learning more and growing more. And then we have help coming. Help is on the way for the Denver Broncos in Nate Adkins, Ben Powers. Wildly, wildly optimistic. other reason why you should smash that buy button is that we're just starting to watch how other games are going, and everyone discounted the win when we had it. And then hindsight's 2020, like, whoa, the Broncos actually beat that team. And just seeing that happen with the Dallas Cowboys, like we destroyed the Dallas Cowboys, and then they beat the Kansas City Chiefs on Thanksgiving. And then same thing with Houston Texans. I could not tell you the number of people who texted me after that Texans game who were not Broncos fans, like, oh, Bo Nix is cooked. His numbers were so bad. He threw two touchdowns and 1 interception, barely beat the Houston Texans. And then we just watch how the Texans looked against the 2 past MVPs of the league in Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes. And you're talking about 5 interceptions, 0 touchdowns for both of them, and they were both sacked 10 times. Bo Nix is different. Like, I had to turn the TV off last night, even though I wanted to watch the Chiefs' demise, because I could not stand how much gassing up you heard of Patrick Mahomes by Chris Collinsworth. And last night, if Bo Nix had a stat line of 160 yards with 0 touchdowns and 3 interceptions and a 19 quarterback rating, we'd never hear the end of it. But Patrick Mahomes, oh, look at that, Al. I mean, he's just so, look at how he squeezes out of that miniature water bottle. He's so good, Al. And we don't have to worry about that anymore because the Broncos are in the driver's seat for the AFC, and it feels phenomenal. So much of yesterday's game, guys, is just going to age perfectly. Like, this is a team playing for Pete Carroll, and the Broncos handed them this game in a way that was just so dominant that we had 3 drives over 8 minutes. That last drive, a 10-minute drive, we almost have a full quarter for a drive. We are going to be incredibly, incredibly hard to beat. And it's not a fluke that this isn't just the Broncos like winning 10 straight here as a fluke. This is the new standard that since going back to week 11 of last season, the Broncos have the best record in the entire NFL, and you cannot fraud your way into that. That is a straight up fact that this Broncos team is for real. The AFC West is ours, not just this year, but from now on, because Broncos country, we're getting better. We're out of the Russ Wilson dead cap hit, and we got a ton to BO-Lieve in. Oh,